Thank you, Peter, as Paul Harrigan takes the Newcastle Knights out. Not a bad crowd in the Parramatta Stadium. It's a delightful night for rugby league. And, of course, as Peter has pointed out, Nathan Barnes is out of the side. And Brett Grogan, playing in jumper number 18, comes into the centres. Newcastle looking for their form. Still, it's the wrong part of the year. There's Grogan on camera, but the wrong part of the year to be looking for your form. But such is the case with the Newcastle Knights. They were riding high, then of course got bundled out of the top 4 into this predicament of number 5 with North Sydney at 8. Waiting for North Sydney to come out, and of course their fate has been already explained to you with blokes like Florimo, Fairley, Soden, Hearn, Rudd, Caruana, all out of this team tonight, and Lady Luck could not have smiled more poorly upon them. As a matter of fact, here they come, and Jason Taylor with a huge load on his shoulders tonight. He's going to have to be at his very best, and even in this run-on side, we're told that David Hall is carrying injury into the game. Gary Larson likewise. But of course, the North Sydney Bears, they have been through some tough times, and they'll come through this. But whether they come through as victors remains to be seen. Down on the sideline, Steve Roach.
Yeah, well, Newcastle have only won one of their last 6 matches. I know it sounds a little bit funny, but they might go into this game a little bit complacent because of all the injuries to North Sydney. If they don't get stuck in early, I think they might find that they won't be here next week.
Well, is it possible, Peter Sterling, to go into a situation like this, elimination quarter-final, as we look at the bench with all the stars sitting there? Is it possible to go into a match complacent at this time of the year?
I don't think so, Ray. You know that you've got a tough job in any semi-final. You just got to make sure that you don't think that you've got an advantage. It's a little bit like running into the wind the first half and thinking the second half wind is going to get you home, because it's just not going to happen without the work being applied.
Very nervous young men out there, I would imagine, with Mark Reba and Craig Smith. Mark, 26 years of age, from Manly Rugby Union in his first run-on match. David Fairley, of course, another of the walking wounded. Rothman's medalist from last year.
Looks like he'll be out for the season, Ray, even if they stay alive. Put his World Cup chances into some sort of doubt also. Robin McCormack, a key man for the Knights tonight, does some great work around the dummy half area and as marker. He'll be the one to plug up the middle of the ruck.
So David Manson is the man appointed to control the first elimination quarter-final. A great weekend of rugby league. David Manson is checking with both captains. The football stadium tomorrow to Suncorp tomorrow night. 1912 Newcastle defeated them at North Sydney Oval in round 16. Can they do it again and continue on in the battle for the 95 Winfield Cup? 80 minutes down the road we'll know, as Harrigan takes the second play out for the Knights. And they're 25 out from their own line. First use of the football, first set of 6 in the quarterfinals to decide the champions of 95. And he's lost it. He's given it up cold. And Manson will put a scrum down. A good opportunity for the Bears early on.
Darren Tracy, the man responsible for the first mistake in this game. And the last thing that Malcolm really would have said to his side is no mistakes in our own danger territory. 3 tackles into the game. North Sydney, a scrum win, 32 out.
What's the betting? Taylor will come into the 4 on tackle number 5 and go to the air. Newcastle have displayed a weakness under the high ball. This is the second tackle on this set. And they're 28 out now from the Newcastle line towards the left of the ground. Reba is the dummy half through Taylor. And they pick up Josh Stewart. He takes it back to the centre of the park. And Reba calling on him to give him a quick play of the ball. Again, they come right. Taylor taken out by McCormack. Hall, smashed into the ground. Heavy tackle that by Muir. And John's got involved, and now it's with Craig Wilson, the alternative kicker, and this could see a line dropout. It's been a beautifully weighted kick by Craig Wilson.
I think Craig Wilson is just as important as Jason Taylor tonight. He's really got to take on some extra responsibility. Instead of the ball going to Taylor 80% of the time, it's got to go to Craig Wilson, the other side of the ruck, and that's just another one of his skills. Very adept at kicking the football. Ross back there to clean up.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine David Hall at 5'8", North Sydney having any real constructive backline play. I think it'll just be a bombardment of plays off the dummy half, and Jason Taylor really waiting for, as Peter said, Craig Wilson to come up with something different.
So North Sydney now come back with this being the 8th tackle. And it all goes back to Darren Tracy losing the ball when trying to play it. And Newcastle had it on the first set. Billy Moore fires a pass, a chancy pass, and it's picked up by David Hall. And he's tackled in the centre of the park, 30 metres out. Parramatta Stadium in beautiful condition for the finals, as Billy Moore is put away down on the 20-metre line. It's been all defence for Newcastle so far as they go through Taylor and go on for Hall. He flicks it up for Taylor, the run around for Sears, and then into the back line. But Cleary out wide in that back line. He's put away as they come across the ground for Taylor, and here's the kick that we were expecting earlier, the high ball, and O'Davis puts it down. It came off the feet of one of the Bears. It's back with Newcastle, but David Manson has ruled the Knights players, the North Sydney players, offside.
And they were offside, all getting in front of the kicker. See Jason Taylor there, a couple of players up on the 30-metre line to put them in front of the kicker. Davis still looking a bit dusty under it. The Chief takes it up from the tap, takes it to the halfway line.
Harrigan right on the halfway line now. McCormack picks up the first forward runner. And it's played there by the number 8 for Newcastle, which is Butterfield. Tony back in the top side again. We've got a wealth of forwards. And again, an appeal from Newcastle. This time it brings the penalty their way. Again, it was Darren Tracy, the key figure. Watch it.
The defender was Billy Moore, just getting up there with the strapped arm, just pushed him down. Not a happy look from Darren Tracy as Andrew Johns finds touch, 25 out. Here's Butterfield.
Butterfield taken and put down. Very strong tackle. The North Sydney players taking an age to get up. It was Craig Wilson, but here's Newcastle now. A big back line, deep and out to the left. McCormack on the runaround with Matthew Johns, a decoy, and then it comes away, and it's with Tracy. Tracy's put down. Tackled by Toshak. McCormack opts to go back to the right. Through Andrew Johns with Matthew now. He tries to step. He's into space. There's the try. Newcastle, the first opportunity to threaten North Sydney, and Matthew Johns has scored.
Great work there from the 5'8", tremendous evasion. You mentioned the fact that Craig Wilson was slow up after a tackle earlier on. Unfortunately for Craig, he was the man that missed the tackle on the inside, fell off it. And this young 5'8" from Newcastle showing just what great skill he's got, tremendous on his feet. Did it all himself, plenty of defenders in front of him. That's where the attacking potency comes in this Newcastle side, the 6 and the 7.
Yeah, it's a real bonus for Newcastle. They're the sort of side that don't save anything early in the game. They're straight into their stride. They tried their plays. That ball went across to one side of the field, and the two live wire half and 5'8", the two Johns boys, quick to get the ball wide, and Matthews got in there. That'll be a real confidence builder for Newcastle. They'd have been nervous. You know, all the changes in the North Sydney side, their form hasn't been good. A great start like that is just what they needed.
So Andrew Johns will convert, or attempt to convert, the try scored by Matthew. He's only 15 out. He's just off centre. And strikes it sweetly, straight over the dot. So Newcastle take first points in the elimination quarter-final. They lead North Sydney 6 points to 0 after 5 minutes.
Newcastle 6, North Sydney 0.
Welcome back to Parramatta Stadium, and welcome back to Nine's exclusive coverage of the Winfield Cup quarterfinals right through to grand final day. And we'll keep bringing it to you each weekend. Over this weekend, of course, the cameras tomorrow at the football stadium, tomorrow night at Suncorp Stadium, and then we come back to Rugby League headquarters on Sunday. Newcastle 6-0 then. They grabbed first points after 5. Matthew Johns, the try scorer. His brother was the kicker. And this is Tracy standing and able to brush away from a couple of tackles. But North Sydney finding themselves late to get up in the tackles.
Yeah, it's Craig Wilson again, still down as Robbie McCormick has got support, finds Robbie Ross, now Andrew Johns.
And it goes on, and it's Butterfield unloading for Grogan to step, and he comes back into the traffic. He's tackled 30 metres away from the North Sydney line. Through now for Andrew Johns, and he works it into the air now off the right foot. And Ainsko is coming fast, but Toshak is there and grasped in goal. It'll be a line drop out. Sears appealing to referee David Manson, but the ruling is correct. Watch it.
The kick was a very good one. Just couldn't get over the head of Nigel Roy, but he took it in the field of play, and Ainsko's chase was good enough to take the catcher into the in-goal area, forcing the line drop out. Important tonight for Jamie Ainsko to continue his good form throughout the season, especially in the chasing department. He needs to be enthusiastic and take the outside men down with him.
Seems to be quite a deal of concern over Craig Wilson. We've pinpointed that he's been late up in a couple of tackles. The trainers are spending more time with him than any other player. The 12 for Newcastle is Adam Muir, 35 out now from the North Sydney line. And what would it do for their confidence if they, in fact, were the team to score next? They've got 6 points on the board as Andrew Johns goes across for Butterfield again. He's never let them down, Anthony Butterfield. He's one of their toughest forwards. He's had a terrible time with injury through his career. He's Newcastle now. And Manson has found a little knock on. He's going to put a scrum down just inside the 20-metre line. Newcastle's North Sydney's loose head and feed.
Yeah, pass was hurried from Andrew Johns there. If he'd have thrown it on the first occasion to Robbie Ross, there was a little bit of a hole. Appeared as though it had been cleaned up, but eventually the ball came loose. They'll let off for the Bears as they win the scrum in their own 20-metre area, and Millie going straight through. There's Toshak. In fact, clear.
So 29 is Craig Smith. Just a little query on whether he's actually in his debut first grade game. That's run-on game. Some people think that he may have actually gone through that experience during the season. Certainly only in his second run-on game, if not. And this is Wilson now to the halfway line. 5 tackles gone. They look for their captain and kicker. And Taylor's kick is going down to Tony Herman. Not a good kick from Taylor, and that's not bad field position on the first tackle. 35 out from your own line. In front 6-0, Newcastle, the first of the elimination quarterfinals. Sudden Death Rugby League. And the winner of this will play the loser of Manly and Cronulla next weekend. As McCormick scurries in, and they are now 10 metres into North Sydney's area. And here's a penalty going to Newcastle one more time. Picked up a high shot, Peter.
Josh Stewart going high on Adam Muir there. The referee was very quick to pick this one up. It's not the 11 we're looking for. It's the player coming in on the left side. Didn't appear to be too much to it. No doubt they will look to kick the goal. Only 33 metres out directly in front.
Just watching Paul Harrigan in the opening stages, Ray, I think that Paul's probably been a little victim this year of worrying too much about the rest of the team and not his own game. And we're only 10 minutes into the match. He's had half a dozen very strong runs and just getting up quick and playing the ball and really leaving the running of the side to the 2 halfbacks. And it's an important final series for Paul.
He's been, Phil, and a comment from you be valued. He's been under a lot of criticism this year, Paul Harrigan.
He's been under a lot of pressure, Ray, is what he's been under. I mean, he hasn't been the player that we've come to know the last couple of seasons, but he missed his off-season, the second off-season in a row where he hasn't trained. He had to play himself fit this year. He's of course had all the drama up in Newcastle and the representative season, and you know, maybe this semi-final series could be just what he needs to top him off for the season.
Last few weeks has been very good, especially against Cronulla last week. I thought he was close to his best.
Here's Andrew Johns then from right in front, and again he struck it sweetly, straight between the centre. And Newcastle leading 8 points to nothing. Try for Matthew Johns. 2 goals for Andrew Johns. And the Red and Blue Army, they've come quite a way down to push this side as much as they can. Their entry into the rugby league was 1988. And they've been to the finals a couple of times, so Newcastle no stranger to finals football, no stranger to sudden death football, as Marquette carries the football back to the 20-metre line.
Steve Roach, plenty of momentum early in this game for the Knights, and this is why the likes of Harrigan and Butterfield taking these charges.
Yeah, it's been a good start for the Newcastle side. Every single one of their forwards just taking off the ruck, making 10 metres. That's been the problem for the North side, trying to stop that and trying to slow that down.
And plenty of willing workers like this man, Butterfield, getting a good foundation laid by players such as Tony Butterfield, and now Andrew Johns with a torpedo punt kick that bounces on the 20-metre line, causes a little bit of concern back there for Matt Sears.
It's always a good rap for a player when a coach puts him straight back in after injury, and Tony Butterfield's had his share of injuries over the years, but as soon as he's fit and well, they seem to rush him straight back into the side. He must be a very important member of the club.
It's a dart away from dummy half by Craig Smith. More than that, very good meters made. And he's out on the 40-metre line with Reba. And through the centre goes Taylor, and Harrigan smashes him. Reba away now for Larson, and Larson crosses the halfway line, but again the Newcastle defence is tough from Harrigan. Now to the boot of Taylor. He has to drop off that idea for a couple of paces and then gets in an immaculate kick.
Well, that was brilliant work from Jason Taylor. Obviously the ploy by the Knights is to really pressure his kicking game. At one stage there, it looked as though Ainscough might have got him before he could get the kick in, but he remained poised, got to the outside. This was the tackle that shortened him up a couple earlier. He's done well to be cleared-headed enough to be able to come up with this kind of play.
Peter, as a kicker in general play, I often see a lot of right-footed kickers get into trouble by tackle 5 being on the left-hand side of the play the ball. I mean, he's really got himself in that predicament there, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit strange, especially being that far infield. He could have got to the other side. It's kind of hard to work out, especially with North Sydney. They don't seem to have a lot of option kickers as well.
Now this is Marquette. 8 points to nothing in favour of the Knights. They've attracted some enormous crowds and great support since that entry that I was talking about a couple of minutes ago. Johns now short of the halfway line by about 7 metres, and the last tackle finds Jamie Ainscough putting a kick down a fairly narrow corridor. He did well to find touch 30 metres out from the North Sydney line. So again, it's going to be a North Sydney loose head and feed. Ainscough, a tremendous season. Taylor talking. He hasn't stopped talking. And a couple of those facial expressions suggest he's not very happy.
Yeah, well, he's got some younger players in the side there and some first-timers, and 8-0 down on the scoreboard in the semi-final. They could be prone to panic a little bit or think the game's getting out of reach. It's just important that North Sydney forget about the scoreboard and get on playing the game. I mean, if this is still the score at half-time and later in the second half, well, they're in good position to make a late strike, so it's important they don't drop off now.
Here's Billy Moore now. 35 metres out from his own line. And this takes us on to tackle 3 on this set. McCormick is a little bit slow in getting away from Josh Stewart. Wilson shows it and then takes the tackle of McCormick, who's again a very busy player, Robbie McCormick, as he was last Friday. Larson, and they're on the halfway line on their last tackle, and it's back for Taylor on the left of the park. He kicks straight down the ground, and I fancy that was what his plan was the last time we were talking about his positioning on the football field, but it was shut down by the charge down. Now O'Davis will have to shuffle away from fullback to wing to accommodate Robbie Ross. And now Harrigan with Larson underneath. More over the top, and they go again across to the right for Tracy. Getting it away, he had to handball it down. Ross and Johns combined to find Ainscough on the left of the park. And Ainscough heading for the sideline, and then Nigel Roy just trying to drag him over the sideline. I'm sure that would have brought a penalty had he have done that. Out wide, they find Adam Muir, and he shovels it down, but that, well, he's ruled 6 more tackles. Manson ruled that the ball was raked out by North Sydney. And that's why he allowed that ball that went forward to go on. This is Butterfield, 42 metres out from the Bears line. And McCormick turns Harrigan back in. And now Butterfield, Grogan is with it, but he's slammed down. Put down by Smith on the far side of the ground. Butterfield slow to his feet. Matthew Johns turning the ball in for Adam Muir. Muir gets it away. He pushes passes Adam Muir.
What a kick up from Matthew Johns.
Robbie Ross appeals to Manson for the penalty, and Andrew Johns gives the long pass and it'll find the line. Well, it was knocked back in by Herman, and Grogan dives on it for play to go on. This is the last tackle now, and into the air goes Andrew Johns, a towering punt, the bounce. They've made a mistake, and there's another try, but he's ruled offside. Manson, no problems in denying the try to Robbie Ross.
Well, I think it's a good call again. I've got no doubt that Ainscough is in front, and so too the try scorer, the two players there. Ainscough going through, but the man behind him, Robbie Ross, was also in front of the kicker. So a good decision from the referee under pressure.
So the Bears are let off, and they find the line with the penalty. Nigel Roy taking the tap and taking a settler out himself. 12 metres short of halfway. Taylor goes across. And that is Josh Stewart. Now they got a good set of 6 going off this penalty. They've reached the halfway line, and now they pick up a penalty.
As I said before, Ray, it's just important North dig in a little bit here, because they'll be encouraged by that. They had a couple of back-to-back sets of 6 from Newcastle, a little bit of a let-off from the referee, and now a penalty to relieve some pressure. They've just got to hang in there for a while and just hope the game comes their way later. They've sort of got to weather this storm. Newcastle are trying a lot.
And here's an opportunity not only to weather the storm, but try and find some less turbulent weather in the process. On the second tackle, they're inside the 20-metre line. And Reba away for Taylor. Taylor into the hands of Moore. Back inside for Larson, then Taylor, then back and across. And that is Smith. And they're into the space. Here's Reba. Shut down. Desperate tackle by Ross. A chance for the Bears as David Hall's pass finds Ivan Cleary. 2 metres out from the line. And now for Taylor. A short ball away for Matt Sears, then for Gary Larson. Here it comes, but it's been called back.
Yes,
Manson puts himself in the match again.
A Shepherd called an obstruction. Billy Moore looked like he'd scored a couple of great tackles previous from Newcastle. That was it there. I can't go along with that. I don't think that the tackle was impeded. Andrew Johns was in between. He was the man that the referee would have thought was impeded, but he had a good shot at the tackle.
Well, it was a dummy that beat him, wasn't it? It wasn't the obstruction from the player in front of him. It's a bad break for North Sydney. It's important now they hold on again here, because these little setbacks can often play on your mind.
2 good tackles there, one from Robbie Ross and the other from Grogan, saved tries as Harrigan hits it up again. But for the Shepherd to be called that, it means that the defensive player couldn't get to the man carrying the football. I don't think that was the case. I think Johns had a good shot.
This is Tracy now. 42 metres out from his own line. And a let-off for Newcastle. They continue to lead with comfort. 8 points to 0. As Andrew Johns got a quick play of the ball, he comes away and spears it wide. Butterfield away from Hall. Matthew Johns across the park and stepping off that right foot. It was that step that carried him over the line for the try, the only try in the game. On tackle 5, it's put on the boot by Andrew Johns, and Ainscough is offside, but I don't think O'Davis is. The ball rolls over the sideline anyway. So at Parramatta Stadium, it's 8 points to 0 after 21 minutes. Newcastle leading. Back at Parramatta Stadium this Friday night in Sydney, the first weekend, the first night of the quarterfinals, the first 8-team situation, the first 8-team exercise in rugby league, and historic weekend. And Newcastle and North Sydney doing battle in our first sudden deather. At the moment, not looking good for North Sydney. They're down 8 points to 0 as they bring it away through Billy Moore. And he got a pass away. He must have been very close to being on the ground.
Oh, flatten his back, maybe.
Well, the arms hadn't hit the ground, I've got to say that, but it must have been a touch-and-go situation for David Manson. But it hasn't been a bad set of 6 for North Sydney as Taylor, McCormack came up out of the line quickly, and Taylor now rolls it down, looking for the line and finding it. Well, he's in very good form tonight, Jason Taylor.
That's a very big play. We've spoken about the responsibility tonight on Jason Taylor in so many areas for his team. But the pressure that's coming through on the last tackle, Larson and Billy Moore have been outstanding tonight for the Bears. The 2 Queensland State of Origin representatives really are getting through a power of work. It's a bit sus, that one, but the referee said, let's go.
Newcastle now away from their expected win in the scrum. 10 metres out, Herman on the first and Ross on the second, but he's gone straight through them. Robbie Ross, he contributes a run of 30 metres for Newcastle, and they've got a roll going. Harrigan loves that. 5 metres into North Sydney's territory, and they've used 3 tackles as Matthew Johns pops a pass up for Tracy to angle back. 4 tackles gone, and they've come 60 metres. Now Manson says play on. Matthew Johns again turns it inside. Butterfield on 5. McCormack puts it into the hands of Andrew Johns. This time Ainscough is onside. Sears goes back. He's got 3 metres to get back, and he does it, and does it well.
Very brave effort there by Matt Sears, isn't it? The Newcastle kickers have targeted the North Sydney wingers, and Matt Sears made sure he got to that ball, had a wall of defence in front of him, and that's a big play to get back into the field of play there.
So we come back with Norths reaching their own 20-metre line. And Billy Moore put away under the Knights' defence. With McCormack and Butterfield heading the tackle count for the Knights at 10 apiece. Marquette and Harrigan at 9. The forwards sharing the defensive load.
And for the Bears, Reber's done a power of work there. 15 tackles.
Watching Craig Wilson in back play, Peter, he's having trouble keeping up. Craig, he's involved in that tackle, but I was just watching him getting into the line, and he's not running freely. Got a question mark on Craig Wilson's continued involvement in the game, although he made ground to make that tackle. Now they go to the right, the Knights, and this is Butterfield just inside the 40-metre line. Centre of the park, Parramatta Stadium, hosting the President's Cup earlier today, and of course the reserve grade, and now the first of the elimination quarters, and Newcastle giving it up easily.
Adam Muir having a little bit of a look there. Gives Norths good field position here. This is the second tackle with Cleary going out of dummy half. They should make the halfway line this next play and still have 3 up their sleeve.
And Cleary, of course, heading into the Phil Gould stable next year. On the halfway line, this is Wilson, and it goes from Reba across for Taylor to work it towards the centre of the ground. That's Billy Moore. Reba grabbing some yards out of dummy half. 5 tackles gone. He's not lacking in confidence, Reba, as Taylor's kick goes high and across, and Newcastle went up and came down empty, and Ross finished up with the dregs on the ground.
He's having a fine game, Robbie Ross. Made some incisive dashes, cleaned this one up particularly well. See him come in, slide in a minute. And the North Sydney players there. I think that Matt Sears has got to look to get off Jason Taylor on the last tackle. It's a staggered line coming up, chasing to put pressure on Jason Taylor. There's got to be a little bit of space there, a hole maybe somewhere around him. And the North Sydney fullback is the player with the pace to maybe exploit that.
Muir, and there's that pass down. He's a great man to run off, Adam Muir. Some of his passes are probably very hard to latch onto, but I would imagine Terry Lamb, those sort of players, would love playing in and around Adam Muir.
Yeah, they're doing quite nicely here, the Bears. I mean, they've forced a couple of fumbles the last 2 sets of 6. They can force a little bit of field position and maybe get an extra set of 6 out of a restart. 14 minutes before half-time, they can get themselves back in the game.
Danny Williams in the number 9, playing in the front row as Larson reaches the 30-metre line now. 8 points to 0 and 13 minutes of the first half remaining. 5 tackles gone for North Sydney.
Good kick here. This is what we need.
So Wilson it is. They go to his side of the ruck, and Smith goes down the right. Wilson will score. This time Manson won't be disallowing the try. Well, they've opened them up so easily in the final analysis, and 8 points to 4.
Oh, you've been teaching Phil Gould, Ray. You must have taken him aside as soon as he said the good kick was needed. They've run the footy and got a try out of it. Wilson started it, picked up his winger Smith with a great ball, and that is a sensational pass back to the man who threw the first one. Craig Wilson improving the position, a little bit of space. This was a good ploy because the defence of Newcastle on the last has been a little bit staggered at times. Smith able to get outside his man, attract 2 defenders. In fact, there were 4 Newcastle players there that the pass back to Craig Wilson actually beat.
Well, that was better than a kick, wasn't it?
Well, they might kick now.
Well, nice play by Craig Wilson, though. I mean, he's been seeing Jason Taylor, as you say, under a lot of pressure. Called the option on the 5th tackle. Probably thought about kicking himself, but
no, he never did.
Never did. Geez, I thought he looked like it. Anyway, down the short side, nice try. Now it's 8-6 with 10 to go before half-time, and Newcastle probably shaking their heads a little bit.
Well, there's the conversion by the captain. 8 points to 6. 8-6 the score. 28 minutes gone. Sudden death football on a Friday night on Channel 9.
On your run, gentlemen. With the kicker. On your run.
Back at Parramatta Stadium, 8 points to 6. And, good news there for North Sydney on the other side of that break. They open Newcastle up easily. In fact, the disallowed try earlier probably served notice that North Sydney were not going to have a lot of trouble in opening Newcastle up, and then they came back to do it as they unload on the left of the ground. And here's Ainscough, 20 metres away from the North Sydney line.
So important after you score points that the next set of 6 is a good one. Second tackle, the Bears have made the mistake. Butterfield inside the 20 now. And good options either side. Plenty of players on the right outside Andrew Johns, but they get the penalty.
Yeah, they'll take this kick from right in front, 18 metres out, and it's against the North Sydney defence, and that man, Danny Williams, is the offender. He made the point that he's playing in the front row, though he's got the number 9 on. He has the problem of playing well above his weight in that position.
Well, that's really silly penalty to give away. His defence wasn't in that much disarray. Really went on with it, made it so obvious, and to do it 18 metres out in front of your post in the semi-final, all of a sudden, instead of being 2 behind, which is just a kick at goal, they're going to be 4 behind and looking at scoring tries.
Malcolm really there pulling Adam Muir across to the sideline. Actually spoke to him on the handpiece there. Adam Muir came right across over the sideline, and I saw Malcolm really up in the stand here talking to him, so obviously not happy with something going on out there.
Andrew Johns will add the extra 2. And 2 points that North Sydney didn't need on the scoreboard. 30th minute and 10-6 after they clawed back to 8-6 tonight, following the telecast of this match, the President's Cup Grand Final, Manly versus Canberra. We'll see that in Sydney at 11:10 following Nightline. There's Taylor. Starts us again, and looking at the timepiece, we are 9 minutes out now from the break. With Newcastle now and their winger Herman taking it away beyond the 20-metre line. So 10 points to 6. Peter Sterling made the point that after you've put points on the board, you need a good set of 6. And at North Sydney, they didn't provide that. Nobody to blame but themselves for losing that extra couple of points. And Cormac sends it up from Muir. And Muir's a couple of metres on his side of the halfway on 5. So they're heading off for the ever reliable boot of Andrew Johns. And the ball with Matt Sears. Just losing his footing momentarily. It took a bit of the sting out of his bring back, his carry back.
Yeah, but he got to the ball quickly, Ray, didn't he? He only gave it the one bounce and attacked it, and that's what you want from your fullback. You don't want him letting it just flounder around there and waiting for the defence to come down on him. He always tacks the ball, Matty. So he's very, very safe back there.
Billy Moore then, and now North Sydney with Wilson. Don't you feel too bad about suggesting that the kick was on Gus? I had Craig Wilson just about ready to come off the park, and he strolled in for a try, so I'll put my hand up as well. This is Stewart. And a penalty goes to the Bears. And Manson making it fairly obvious that he's not going to put up with too much in the tackle.
No, and again, that's a dumb play. Not only the fact he's given away the penalty, even though it looked as though it was milked a fair bit, but it came late in the tackle count, and that's where you don't want them to come. If you are going to be penalised, first tackle, so that you're not having to burn up too much juice with 2 sets of 6 against you.
David Manson called both captains over. You might have thought for a moment that it was Harrigan, the offender. It wasn't. He was there as captain. Manson has emphasised to both captains that he won't take anything very much at all in the play the balls. 40 metres out from the Newcastle line, and here's Williams. Harrigan had him in his sights. Luckily for Williams, he got out of the line of fire as Taylor floats a pass. Wilson holds it back. Sears runs onto it. Grogan makes the tackle. Inches inside the touchline on the Michael Cronin side of the ground. And this is Wilson again now. 22 metres out from the Newcastle line. Across for Jason Taylor to go on for the run around with Bill Moore, and then back and down for Danny Williams. And Williams 25 out, 5 gone. They come right. Taylor's calling the shots. He'll have laryngitis at the end of this one. Jason Taylor, I said as they ran on, a huge load on his shoulders if the Bears are to win this one. Now Robbie O'Davis. 12 metres out from his own line. And 10 points to 6 per medium of a try for Newcastle for Matthew Johns. It came early. 3 goals for his brother. And then Craig Wilson scoring the try for the Bears, with Taylor adding the extras. Now a strong run by Harrigan. Larson, as you might expect, waiting for him. As Johns puts the kick in. Ainscough with a spirited chase. It's been a feature of Ainscough's performance tonight. Very reminiscent in many ways of what Andrew Ettinghausen has been providing for Cronulla in recent weeks.
Yeah, he's the best in the business at the moment, ET. But that's infectious as well. You see a teammate showing that much energy and enthusiasm to get down the other end of the field. It more or less drags you along with him. All of a sudden you come up with a very good chase. Taylor now, the short ball was a good one. Well cleaned up there by Adam Muir.
Some bad news for North. The trainer's out there with Ivan Cleary, and he's indicating to the bench that we've got to get him off. In fact, through the binoculars, I think there's a swelling on the right cheekbone area of Ivan Cleary. Steve Roach, what's the story?
Well, he caught Tony Butterfield's elbow over there on the far side. Just come in for the ball and all tackle, and the elbow was cocked.
Nothing. Was there an illegality in it, do you think?
No, I think he was just using it as a guard, just next to his body there, mate. I don't think he stuck it out.
Johnny McCarthy, 28. Is a man who looks like he'll come in. Inside pass to Harrigan, throws the dummy.
Apparently the boys on the machines downstairs have got the incident. We'll get back to it in a second. As Johns comes across for the 5'8" Matthew, and then another spirited run by Tony Butterfield. He mightn't have the name of some of the forwards in the Newcastle pack, but I'll tell you what, he's been very strong tonight, Butterfield. He's made 15 tackles and 11 hit-ups. As more trouble presents itself for North Sydney, they got it back for mine. The ball was in the field of play.
This is a big call, 4 minutes left on the clock. I don't think there's any doubt that the ball was in the field of play. irrespective of where the player's body was. It was a great kick from Andrew Johns again, brought up by Smith, tackled by Ross, gets the ball down. He's in the field of play.
He still is.
Now Cleary comes off with that nasty injury on the right cheekbone.
Yeah, it was Tracy. No dramas with that. Just got his head in the wrong place for where the collision and the impact took place. More the shoulder up, higher up than the elbow.
Well, there's been an immediate reaction from the eye and that cheekbone. And I've got a funny feeling the trainer fears the worst. Well, Sydney showing a lot of concern as Cleary heads up the tunnel. Newcastle will come back. They'll try and convert this into points.
This could be the biggest 2 minutes of the game. If the Knights can put on a converted try here, it might just break the spirit of the opposition. They need to hang on the Bears, because I think it was a dud call against them.
Marquette plays it and they put on the crisscross and the players run angles. They come down with the ball 20 metres out. The second tackle has gone. McCormick heads to the right through Johns and then for Andrew. He rolls it in. Ross is coming down, but his opposite number was there. Alert. Manson almost got in the road. And Sears is tackled just outside the 20.
A bit of an admission there from Newcastle that they're having trouble with this enthusiastic North Sydney defence. I mean, I think they've contained them fairly well. And there it is on third tackle, resorting to a grubber kick. Yeah, a little bit of an admission there that they're not finding the holes in the North Sydney side they're looking for.
10-6 as we press on to half-time. Larson. Ball comes down. Reba goes away with it. He's through a gap. He's over the 40 and the 30. Supporters arriving. He's put down on the 20.
He's quick.
He is quick. Across now for Taylor to serve it up. They go through two sets of hands. Smith gets it down. No, it's been called. Called forward by Manson. He's having a night of denial, David Manson.
He loves a big call, doesn't he?
But he does it confidently. Here's Reba, the 26-year-old former Manly Union player, in his debut game, having a whale of a game. And it's this pass from Nigel Roy to the left winger, Craig Smith.
No doubt there. About a yard forward. A little difficult there when the defence is coming at your side on to position that outside man. Newcastle very quick across the ground in cover defence there and just force the forward pass.
Well, Peter Louis, Phil Gould, he's got 60 seconds and less to get to his troops. And he would have to be pretty happy with what's happened for him, apart from the two disallowed tries, I mean.
Yeah, he has. There's plenty of encouragement there for his side. I mean, the second half will show whether or not these young North Sydney players really believe they can make it and can win this game. But certainly they've given themselves every opportunity. They've hung in there under difficulty. He's got to get Ivan Cleary back on the field, though, you'd think, wouldn't you?
A cut-out pass from O'Davis over the head of Ainscough. Finds Johns coming back, looking for Ainscough. And they perfect this channel down the side. They've done it many times, Newcastle. O'Davis kicks. He did it a couple of times in the match we did at Marathon, working down a narrow channel. You'd think it was impossible, but this man, Ainscough, specialises in it. The half-time siren is with us. First elimination quarter-final. And the Knights lead the Bears 10-6. So David Manson, who had a busy first half, a controversial first half for him. A couple of calls, we disputed, one which cost North Sydney a try, and here's a high shot on Gary Larson that'll bring a penalty for the Bears. Called out is the front row forward, Tony Butterfield. 20-metre line, no damage done for Larson. He's all right, Gary, and there's the tackle on replay. So Taylor finding the line.
And there's been a change for Newcastle at the half-time break. Billy Peden in jersey 27 is on for Paul Marquette.
For the Bears, just outside their own 40-metre line. Opening seconds of the second half. And Steve, at half-time, what did you find out?
Well, fired up, Malcolm. Really, it's easy to see that it's the semi-finals. He just told his players, just stick to do what you do best. That's go forward. He said, let the Johns boys control the game. Don't try and force passes. There's too many errors there. Cut out your error rate. There's far too many. More decoy runners and just attack them on the fourth. He reckons there's a bit of value there. For Norse, Peter Louis very, very happy with his side. He just said one point, there was too many piggybacks letting the Newcastle side out of their own half. He said they've got him a couple of times on the fringe, but it's most important to go forward first and get them in the middle there. He said keep kicking to Herman, try and put a bit more pressure on him. Ivan Cleary has been cleared of a broken cheekbone, but he hasn't come back on the field for the second half, but he still might be back on.
Right, Steve, thank you for that. And this is Grogan, who was in the run-on side when Nathan Barnes was forced out of this quarter-final. And now Harrigan takes play just inside the 40-metre line. 10 points to 6 in favour of Newcastle. Goal kicking the difference. Andrew Johns has potted 3. Jason Taylor just 1. Adam Muir strains as he gets down towards the 20-metre line. McCormack scurries in. They work the blind. Ainscough is there. Ainscough, he's through! Did he get it down? Manson consults the end goal and no try.
Well, he's nearly come up with something magical there. Jamie Ainscough, it was 2-on-2. He took the defence on. Matt Toshak beaten on the outside. All ends up. And let's have a look at this. The defence coming across. Oh, gee, it looks like a try to me.
Is any doubt? Looking at the replay, and Ainscough with the clenched fist in the air. He's absolutely convinced that it's a try. It has been denied. I suppose you could look at it as being the square up for a North Sydney try that was disallowed in the first half. Andrew Johns goes across for Ainscough to have another look at the try line.
Isn't it a shame that you have to say that?
It's a cross now for Matthew Johns, and then for Harrigan. He stops short of the defence line. Peden combines. Ross is with it, and they're 11 metres out from the North Sydney line. Grogan is the dummy half into the hands of Matthew Johns, and with 2 passes they get well wide of the ruck. And now Butterfield in for Muir, but he's called it forward again. Well, Manson, he just won't say yes. 5 times in the game he said no.
Juggling effort there from Andrew Johns. Found Tony Butterfield, who threw the big dummy. Didn't expect that. Got in behind the defence. Almost impossible to pick up from that angle, but David Manson was in very good position to adjudicate on that pass.
I'd like to be married to him. Won't say yes, David Manson.
14,174.
North Sydney now. They come away from their 10-metre line.
It's not even something that entered my mind, I've got to admit, Ray.
Get to my age, you start to think about it. Smith now plays it, and away goes David Hall beyond the 30-metre line. David, no secret of the fact, playing injured. I think he has a broken toe, David Hall, and he's playing at 5'8". Billy Moore hitting the line and bumping away from Bill Peden, 42 metres out from the North Sydney line. And Stewart goes decoy to the right. They come back for this alternative kicker, Craig Wilson. And Craig proficient at the craft, equally proficient with Jason Taylor, really.
I think we've seen a change in the North Sydney lineup. David Hall, who's actually on the left side of the field, gone out to his normal wing position.
You're quite right, and it looks like maybe Nigel Roy has...
No, well, Nigel will be playing left centre. He'll just line up there off the scrum base.
John MacArthur's gone to 5'8", you were saying?
That's the one.
Could well be. He may mix up with Matt Sears a little bit, because Matt Sears did play 5'8" earlier in the season for some games, and MacArthur is a fullback with some mates. So we'll just have to see how things go. I think they'll alternate anyway.
Herman now, almost out to the 40-metre line. His own end of the park. Scoreboard is still with the Knights, 10-6. I would imagine there'd be a massive audience up in the Hunter Valley and Newcastle tonight, riding every play. There is no greater rugby league city. 42 metres out from the North Sydney line. 5 tackles gone as they go across for Andrew to kick. Ainsco's onside. He's going fast after it. Oh! Now it's picked up and Billy Peden. But referee Manson rules a knock on by Ainscow.
What about this? Jamie Ainscow going through at the speed of light. Great kick from Andrew Johns. Right in the middle of the winger and the fullback. Got the little touch there, so a good decision. Peden, one-arm pickup made no difference. How close can you go and not score a try?
What if he spirals into that upright? They would have found his head in his stomach. He was like a human torpedo. This is Matt Shears now with a little pass for John MacArthur. How long's he been around, Gus? Johnny MacArthur.
Played against Sterling.
Oh, Wilson really jolted back. Roy works with Hall. He runs into the arms of Harrigan. 30 metres out from the Sydney line, and the kick down the ground by Taylor. It didn't have a great deal of quality about it. Robbie O'Davis on. Ooh, it's nasty. He's okay. Played against Sterlo. I think he played against you, Gus.
He came out early and had something to do with the shooter.
No, it's with Harrigan. 35 out from the North Sydney line. 10-6. The Knights denied a couple of tries by Manson in the opening minutes of the second half. This is Tracy. Now McCormick. 2 players on his right, the rest of the team on his left, and he came to the right of the ground. And back they go to where the personnel is. Ainsco's offside for mine. And Manson allowed play to go. North Sydney coming down with the ball, but Ainscow was inside the 10-metre circle. It should have been a penalty to North Sydney.
Well, if there's been any doubt about how Mark Reba and Craig Smith would handle tonight, those doubts have been dispelled. That was another fine take from Craig Smith. A lot of bodies there. He's done everything well tonight. Some good interplay here involving Craig Wilson. 32 out middle of the park, near end of the ground.
Taylor pushing it across. MacArthur. And almost had the arms free and able to give Matt Sears a passage on the inside. Sears is a dummy half, and Taylor again driving it down the centre of the ground, and Herman turned around by the flight of the ball. And Herman went down just outside the 20-metre line. I think he was of the opinion that the players around him were also inside the 10, and I agree with him. They were offside. They're inside the 10 as well. And that should have been a penalty for Newcastle.
Frustrating little period there for Newcastleans, and a couple of disallowed tries and a near miss. Then all of a sudden North Sydney come up with a good take on the bomb, and it is steadily frustrating this Newcastle side. It's a very nervous lead, 4 points. Newcastle will be hoping they convert one very shortly.
On the left of the ground, Ainscow and O'Davis are causing a few headaches as they come across to the right, quickly through the hands. Ross into the back line. Grogan makes the break, sees some space, gets the pass away, not on the ground. Johns combines with Johns, and back for Andrew again. Now he unloads, and Butterfield goes inside the 20, and Butterfield is tackled. 11 out, 5 gone. It's Herman into dummy half. Matthew Johns calls it, shows it back on the blind, tries to roll it in, and North Sydney are with the ball coming off the knee. Not a knock on against Reba.
Quick strike here on the right-hand side, running it right on the first tackle.
Toshak is with her. This is Matthew Johns, scheming and probing, and then he kicks, and it came off the knee of Reba. No knock on, and Manson a quick referee to adjudicate there. 10 minutes gone in the second stanza as Reba scoots away from dummy half. He's lost nothing in cast alongside his opposite number, the much more experienced McCormack. The kick from Taylor, the regather is for Newcastle's Herman.
Well, we've got a checkered passage too, did Matt Sears. He still nearly got there. That's the explosive speed that he has. Let's just see if he could get through. Well, he was out of shot. A little bit of a shoulder nudge. Tony Herman right just in time.
Good work from North Sydney there. They've been under some pressure, but as soon as they got a turnover, they spread it on tackle one, a little chip kick later in the set of 6. So they probably sense that if they can pull one now on Newcastle, with Newcastle getting all the advantage, that just might take the wind out of their sails. A couple of experienced players there.
Here's Andrew Johns. He's inside the 20. They kick ahead, race for it, and it's over the dead ball line. 20-metre tackle restarted. This is getting tighter by the moment, Blocker.
Andrew Johns straight up the middle there. Samuel look to the outside. David Hall might be playing ninja, but he's very quick. Led the charge straight through the fence.
Timeout has been called. That is Stewart, is it not? Yes. So try as they may, North Sydney, or should I say Newcastle, just can't shake North Sydney off. Hanging around, aren't they? The Bears, they're hanging in there.
Well, this is where the pressure of expectation comes in, doesn't it? Newcastle expected to win this game. North Sydney, everything to gain and nothing to lose, under strength. Newcastle, they've got to get frustrated with what's happened just in the last 10 minutes. If North Sydney can keep good field position now and jag one back, anything can happen.
Wilson's kicked down the sideline, and Ross tackled effectively by Smith. Exuberance coming through from Reba and Smith. Typical of young players called on to give of their best in a tight situation.
The bad sign for North Sydney is that Robbie McCormack is starting to find a bit of space. Didn't take a run out of Darnley half. Some strong defence from Larson on Harrigan is effective. He's gone out a couple of times now and he's nearly created some space.
Gary Larson, it looks as though he's taken it on a personal basis to wait for Harrigan and take him out of it. He's done an excellent job, Gary, of taking the rampaging Harrigan time and time again. Numbers on the right for North Sydney, created by Jason Taylor. They go down through Toshak and to Smith on the right flank.
Another quick spread on the turnover, caught Newcastle napping there. Brave effort by North Sydney. They're not lying down, are they?
Cross now for Billy Moore. He puts that right hand fend out, but McCormack gets underneath him. They keep the wrap coming on the left. And here is Gary Larson.
Well, they're never going to lie down, but they're a chance of winning this game.
Reba goes back right. The call came from Taylor. He shows it, then goes around the back. Sears links up. Toshak kicks. The chase is on. Ross goes across. Pressure. Finding the line. The pressure comes off. An excellent game tonight, Robbie Ross at the back for Newcastle. And don't tell me there hasn't been plenty of work to do. And there is that situation unfolding. Tomorrow, we're at the Sydney Football Stadium. We've got the Commonwealth Bank Cup, followed by, of course, Canterbury and St George. Blood bin for Andrew Johns. Is that Andrew?
That's Matthew.
Yes, thank you.
Going off as Marquette. The player to come on. A bit of blood around the face too.
That Commonwealth Bank Cup final tomorrow between McCarthy Catholic Senior High and Parramatta Marist High is at 11:30 live. If you would like to see the best schoolboys in action, live tomorrow at 11:30. McCarthy have never won it. Marist have won it once in '88.
And in jersey 40, Brett Camorley has gone on for Matthew Johns, who's in the blood bin. Marquette still on the sidelines. Ainscough from the scrum win. Tackled 12 metres out from his own line.
Smart little player, Brett Camorley. They won't lose much in the footwork department there. If North Sydney are a little tired from all this defence and don't notice he's on the field, he can cut you up.
Butterfield leaving the field for Marquette. Herman out of dummy half.
And Adrian Toole, I notice, getting ready to come on for the Bears in 27. And they go to the halfway line, and Adam Muir gets across it, looks around, let one go, finds McCormack there. McCormack's inside the 40. Ainscough does better. Question mark on the pass. It's O'Davis tackled, and they're 22 out, 5 tackles gone. To the air, is it? It is, off the boot of Andrew Johns, right across the ground. The flankers are down on it. But David Hall, I think it is, underneath it.
Terrific work there by Nigel Roy. As the chasers were coming through, he put his body between them and the fella catching the ball. Now he's come up with a tremendous run. 2 great plays in the space of 10 seconds from Nigel Roy.
That is him with the ball as they play it outside the 20-metre line. Plenty to like about this one. Our first quarter final. This is the sudden death quarter. Opening night of an historic weekend for rugby league. Wilson's chip read well by Herman.
Just not far enough, was it? I mean, they're chancing their hand, North Sydney. They're spreading on the turnovers. A couple of little chip kicks now.
That was good vision from Wilson. He saw that Robbie Ross had actually made the tackle in the front line, but they reacted well. I saw Brett Camorley signal to Robbie O'Davis that nobody was at home. O'Davis dropped back. Of course, it was Tony Herman who was able to take the ball on the full.
Harrigan eventually put down rather gently. It looked as though it could have even developed into something like a dangerous tackle. Camorley across for Andrew Johns and then for Grogan. Grogan got a pass away. Herman can't take it. It was on the fingertips. So it's 10 points to 6 at the 56th minute. At Parramatta Stadium, the exclusive coverage of the 1995 Winfield Cup finals, and live into New Zealand tonight as the Bears try to force a passage through the centre. It was half offering for them. Taylor taking it to the line and then being tackled by McCormack. Adrian Toole, veteran from North Sydney.
Well, that was bad dummy half work, standing up, taking a step or two, and then throwing the ball to Toole. The defence arrived at the same time.
Norths have bogged down on this set of 6. It's not been a good one for them. They're on 5 now. And the last 3, they've gone nowhere. Taylor's kick over the head of O'Davis, who's forced to pick it up and bring it back. Ross comes outside the 10. There's a double heartbeat there for Newcastle supporters. A pass that was chanced by this man that probably was unnecessary. Or it wasn't Herman, in fact it was O'Davis.
I can never question those passes, Ray. I think if you've got enough confidence to throw the ball to a man who's obviously in a much better position than yourself, as the fullback was, it's Harrigan, and used as a battering ram. It's the kind of thing we see Matt Sears do all the time, and seems to be a problem.
Camorley, a penalty. Norths. Penalty has gone to Newcastle. I'm just watching Manson. He's given a quick caution.
The referee telling Danny Williams not to use any part of the arm. This was the big hit on Paul Harrigan. Billy Moore, he didn't mind.
Harrigan again. Now they're on the 20-metre line. Round the back for a second man play that includes Marquette. Now they're where they want to be. 27 is Peden. 10-metre line just behind him. They lead by 4. They keep pumping on the left. Now they switch it. Camorley, Andrew Johns. They go back, and Muir. 15 out from the line. Almost an hour of the quarter-final gone. Andrew Johns holds it in one hand and then waits it into the end goal. The captain reefs it over the dead ball line.
Andrew Johns wouldn't have minded hitting the post here. Kicking deliberately for Robbie Ross. We see a similar move with Stewart and Mullins for Canberra. Andrew Johns a lot of times kicks for his brother, who of course is off the field at the moment. So Robbie Ross knew exactly what was on.
20 minutes to go, Ray, and we may say this a few times before full time, but I think the North Sydney season's coming down to it right here. This set of 6, their 3rd in a row. Newcastle's, they've got some nice little crisscross plays they run from line drop-out receptions. North Sydney defence just starting to get a little tired.
Peden now on the 20-metre line. Now they run the right, work it back to the left, through 2 sets of hands. Andrew, he kicks for Ainscough! Race for the ball, and Ainscough appeals again! Was he onside? Penalty, the try has been given. Ainscough gets the try.
That's the only question mark. There was a planned move again. A kick from Andrew Johns. It was so successful against Cronulla from a scrum win last week. Let's have a look. I think it's sweet. No problem at all. Matty Sears just had too much to do to get there, and Jamie Ainscough never lost his composure at all. Slowed down, in fact, in the end to make sure. A little kick over into space. The winger, of course, is up. Let's have a look how he grounds the ball. Beautiful.
Jamie Ainscough, he's been in the thick of it. He's been at the end of the controversies. Twice he's been denied by referee David Manson, and that's his 17th try. I think he set a record for the most number of tries for Newcastle in their history. Last weekend it was. And he further places his stamp on those record books tonight. That's the 3rd time he's been over the line. First one that he's been given. 14-6. Now, can Andrew convert, and then can North Sydney come back? 18 on the clock. The time's there. The kick is not coming around enough, and so we break, and then we'll come back. 14-6, Knights over Bears. Welcome back. North Sydney coaching staff. Coach in the middle, Peter Louis. Mark Graham off to the right. John Muggleton in the foreground. And, as their faces went down, just looking at the Newcastle coach, Malcolm Reilly, he's sitting in front of his contented coach.
And David Hall has finally succumbed to injury. Kamali leaves the field. Aaron Avula is on the flank for North Sydney. Brought the ankle problem into the game. He's battled hard, David Hall. He's done some good things out there, but he's obviously been restricted by that injury.
Adam Muir.
Matty Johns is back in the fray.
5 metres and 5 tackles. 5 metres into the opposition territory as Andrew Johns puts it directly between winger and fullback, and Sears is confronted by a ring of defenders. A good chase by the Knights. Boyd, their confidence buoyed by that try, it just takes them out of the clutches of North Sydney.
Yeah, it does, and it's an important period for North Sydney. I mean, a sudden death situation, you've got to stop your mind from wandering with the fact that this could be the last little period of the season and concentrate on the job at hand. You never know how close you are away to a comeback, and that's not going to do it, trying to force it from your own end of the field. You give Newcastle the ball here, they'll really punish you, especially when they've got a little bit of a break on the scoreboard. They're nervous when the scores are tight, but if they do get a break, they can really punish you in these situations.
Peter Lewis sent another fresh player out there in 32 over the top of that tackle is Brenton Pomery. He's on for Josh Stewart.
Newcastle hammer it up to the 30-metre line, and then Tracy is forced back. 14-6 then. Newcastle in front, and North Sydney needing to score a couple of times. It's a very big assignment, and this kick again, he's really got it on a string tonight. Aaron Avula is tackled now 8 metres out from his line on the Fournette side of the ground at this great rugby league stadium. And it really is a rugby league stadium, and when you look at grounds that are kept just for football, you can see the benefit, can't you? It's like an English stadium here. Credit to whoever it is that prepares it. Billy Moore prepared to try anything, and well they might. Toshak.
It's one of the real big improvements in Billy Moore's game this season is the ability to hold the ball in one hand and get it out around the corner. We've seen him do it a couple of times tonight.
Eridavulu got a beautiful kick from Taylor, and that is the turnover. Just couldn't do any more. He was losing his balance. I thought he might have been able to scoop a pass inside for Nigel Roy, but it was a pinpoint kick. Look at it from Taylor.
We're still going to see some good things from North Sydney. A little kick deliberately for the outside chase. It's almost an Australian rules play, putting it in the path of his teammates. Possession has gone to the Knights. Ainscough in to first receiver. It's a very good game. Tim Madison about to hit the ball up. Here's another replacement player.
Peter, Newcastle, this last little period of the game, I mean, they've only won one of their last 6 coming into the semi-finals. The winner of this game, of course, plays the loser of Manly and Cronulla. And regardless of who wins or loses that particular game, you would expect that to be a very torrid encounter. So they'll really want to finish this game right out, won't they?
Yeah, they've got to get to the line. They don't want the opposition to score at all. Andrew Johns' kicking game has been immaculate tonight. Let's see us again getting the ball on the first bounce, as he invariably does.
I'll tell you what, Peter, as Andrew Johns earns your plaudits for his kicking game, Jamie Ainscough hasn't let him down. On every kick of Andrew Johns in this match, Ainscough has put his hand up and said, "I'm after it, boss. What do you want me to do?"
Well, I think Ainscough's been the best player out there tonight. I think his enthusiasm was very important to the team. He's chased everything. He's been involved in some try-scoring situations. Robbie Ross has been good. The whole pack has worked very hard. I think the little bit of inspiration that they needed has come from Ainscough and his single-minded approach to this game.
Last tackle now for the North Sydney Bears. With 13 minutes to go, intercepted by Herman. Sears is onto him. Rogan punches the air as if to say, "Oh, take a look." He's still blowing up. And here's the sin bin. Is that Pomeroy?
Pomeroy leaving the field, 10 minutes in the bin. We'll come back for the last 3 minutes of the game as Andrew Johns kicks the ball back. Was a miss there. Grogan was unmarked. Here's Madison taking it within the 10 metres.
Spelt differently, but a great rugby league name. 11 for Newcastle Marquette is close. McCormack sweeps left, and on the half volley, it's with Peden. 10 metres away. Chance here for Newcastle to really set the seal. Robbie McCormack comes bouncing away from the tackle. Matthew and Andrew put it together. The dummy, and then Grogan goes for it. And that's how close. Marquette is 11, a dummy half. And then Matthew gets a rebound off the legs of North Sydney. North's come up with the football. They're outside the 20-metre line.
Well, they'd have liked it to have been Matt Sears picking it up and not Johnny MacArthur. They go wide again. Attack is all important now. Toshak finding Smith.
Big responsibility out there tonight, Matt Toshak. He lost Ivan Cleary, his centre partner, in the middle of the first half. Taylor goes away from a clutching tackle. 30 metres out. The Bears can make it interesting, the finish of this one, if they can get over the line. 11 minutes to go. Taylor's got his men assembled on the left as they go to Toole on the right. This is MacArthur heading for the ground, and now to play it. And away from Williams. Taylor, he puts the kick up high and wide. Will it be handsome? Yes! Yes, it will be! Eridavulu! He gets the try, and the Bears have come back.
And with plenty of time on the clock left, 11 minutes in the game. Jason Taylor kicking wide out. Aaron Avula a mile onside. In fact, look at the ground he's got to make to get there. They all fly, takes it on the shoulder, puts it down. It's scored wide out. But the Bears, they're going to go to the 80th minute. They don't believe that they're out of this semi or quarter-final as yet. Tony Herman really didn't get in any position. He tried to hit the ball, missed it by 6 inches. The two North players were there to take advantage. The 37 gets the try.
Well, they've conceded a lot of tries off that crossfield bomb, Newcastle, in the last few weeks. It's a real problem for them. It's one that Malcolm really has spoken about. Jason Taylor, who just makes a habit of kicking pressure goals from wide out. You wouldn't bet against him on this one. Ray's looking at me. He wants to bet against him.
I just love betting against you. We've been doing it for a lifetime.
You've had a lot of success.
Well, what a finish we've got coming up here. Jason Taylor, one of the sharpshooters of the game, captain of the Bears. Chance to bring it to 14-12. And then the pressure comes back on the referee. His kick is wide. So Taylor fails to convert. But anything can happen with 9 to go. 14-10. And the try again. Aaron Avula. A sensational try. Sterling's chuckling at the pronunciation of the winger.
I'm with you, Rabs. I'm not against you. You know that. I just thought he had an A on the end of his name. That's all. Plenty of time for the Bears. Here they come. Toole.
Would you like to be in the trenches with him, Gus?
He's rock solid, isn't he?
Oh, for sure.
He's in the bunkers. Plenty of time, isn't he?
Here is Larson now. 6 minutes left on the sin bin player. Brenton Pomeroy. Now Toole. Well, a grandstand finish to this one. Billy Moore and Gary Larson. They know what winning is all about. They've tasted plenty of it. Sears, his kick has gone out over the sideline. Well, bounced into the front row of seats.
It's the same thing again, Sterlo. Jason Taylor getting himself caught on the left-hand side of the field. It's easy to chase down a right-foot kicker there. He was forced this time to throw the pass. And Matt Sears, not a recognised kicker, not a recognised kisser, nor a kicker. And on the run, just couldn't control the ball.
Oh, you're fitting right in, Gus.
It's Fatty's microphone.
Talking of Paul Vaughton, he's on the sick list tonight, but Phil Gould was always joining us for our commentary team through the finals, and it's great to have the New South Wales coach with us. So this is where they're at, the Knights. They're approaching the 20-metre line. They're inside it. Andrew gets his pass back. Robbie Ross is there. Oops. There's something a little bit intentional there. Cross now from Matthew Johns to go on from Mira, who tries to bump away with the hip. Back from Matthew, shows it to his brother, gives it for Butterfield. And Moore is there with Wilson. They put him down.
They've got numbers to the right too, but it's been a slow play of the ball. This is the last. Matthew Johns shaping to kick, throws the pass to Grogan.
5 metres out from the line.
1 to go.
5 tackles gone. The Knights, will they kick high and across the ground? That's what they do. The winger comes up. A contest. Ainsko looks at it. Beaten to the race by O'Davis, but knocked on. Another no from Manson.
He's had some tough calls to make, the referee, in this game. Hope he's getting plenty of help. Yeah, I think it went forward off Robbie O'Davis. He might have even got 2 touches on it, O'Davis. Jamie Ainsko. He can celebrate a try.
Gary Larson. Nigel Roy. Williams is off. Reba is back on. And he's with the ball now. 75 minutes gone on the clock.
And don't forget they're doing this with 12 men at the moment, the Bears.
Taylor, knowing they have to get it down the other end of the ground. Work for a mistake. And now O'Davis and Ross combine, and Ross is 5 metres back into North Sydney's area. Andrew Johns. Outstanding performance by the number 7. Matthew. And now Marquette through for Grogan. Catch and pass. Grogan just beyond the 20-metre line. Territory-wise, they've had an enormous advantage here, Newcastle, tonight.
They just look like they're going to be busted shortly, don't they, the Bears? One player out of their line. Knight's able to keep the ball alive, stringing together passes. John's finding Tracy, who's got Robbie Ross. Plenty of support play. This is Ainscough.
One-handed back for Peden. Peden able to give it on. Ainscough keeps it alive. O'Davis does the dancing. He's 12 metres out, 5 tackles gone. Now for the playmaker. Runs to the line, grubber kicks, and did he get a hand on it, Tony Butterfield? Referee Manson consults the end goal and gives Butterfield the try. That is it. Thank you, linesman. Thank you, ball boys, the Bears.
Yes, and Paul Harrigan breathing a sigh of relief, was looking to come back into the game. Might not be needed now. Andrew Johns going to the line. Just too much to do for the Bears. Too much ground to cover. Nigel Roy getting there at the same time as Butterfield, but the in-goal judge ruling that the first downward pressure is from the front rower.
I'll tell you something in the rule book that might amaze you. If these two players simultaneously touch down, the obligation is to give it to the attacking team. I didn't know that until I took a close perusal of the book the other day, but it's an interesting one. And the try has gone to one of Newcastle's favourite sons, Tony Butterfield, a Penrith junior. So Newcastle progress. They wait for the loser of Manly and Cronulla. There wouldn't be too many teams left that could put their hand and say, we will beat Newcastle with any confidence. It's just the last 6 weeks they've been off colour. The captain is pretty happy. 20 points to 10. Newcastle over the Bears. And the try again on replay that Tony Butterfield will savour. Part of the forearm was downward pressure. That's okay.
That's Pomeroy coming back on now. The last couple of minutes of their season. Try scorer catches it. And they'll just wind down the clock now. Been a good tough hit out for the Knights. It's been a real semi-final. They'll go back to Steel City, knowing that they are live next week. And we'll be pretty happy to get a win under their belt. It's been quite a break.
As we said before the game, Peter, this time of year it's all about not only ability but about confidence. They'd have been a little nervous coming here tonight with their record, but any win at this time of year is a good win. They've done it with some bright football as well. The score could have been anything when you consider the disallowed tries. And they'll give themselves a chance next week. They've got nothing to lose. At least in sudden death, you know where you stand.
Made the comment earlier about Newcastle. Here's Ainscough again. And O'Davis, they've got a good combination going.
They're a very good side, Newcastle, when they're in front, aren't they?
Matthew Johns now. He lets Marquette run the decoy. Kicks across the ground. It's a shocker. And then Herman gives it back, but it's knocked on by Darren Tracy. They've beaten Cronulla once this year. They got St George twice. They got the Doggies, Brisbane, and the Bears. Malcolm really leaves his perch from up high in the stands. A coach that probably wouldn't be totally happy with his team's performance, but at least a hell of a lot happier than Peter Louis. He's got another week to get it right. And memories of the way they got rid of the first part of the season, Newcastle. They were high-flying. They looked great. And back in form, they could represent a real nuisance in this premiership. The last Winfield Cup. As Larson comes across and Moore then hands it on.
The winger picks it up.
I was just going to say, do you want to call it?
As the countdown starts and Larson has his last touch for the season.
Ross gets his pass away. Andrew Johns is the last man in possession. if not the man of the match, he certainly would rate very high. Great effort by Andrew Johns. Equally, as Peter discussed with me earlier, Jamie Ainscough. The defeated coach, Peter Louis, 20-10. The Knights have won the first quarter. Take them through to the semi-finals. Gary Larson, will he be the Rothmans medalist at the function on Tuesday night? Many people think he will.